What's up, y'all? So welcome back. So I decided every Sunday I'm gonna start a show called Sunday Charts. So today will be episode one of Sunday Charts, and basically what that's gonna be is every Sunday I'm gonna go over 3 to 5 stocks that I think have a good setup leading into the week ahead. So before we get into that, please make sure you guys follow all my social media pages. They'll be linked below. Subscribe to this channel and also share and like this video as much as possible. Thank y'all. Let's get into it. All right, so the first topic we're going to talk about is Palantir. Palantir has been on an absolute run since we had that huge sell-off in the market on April 7th. So since April 7th, Palantir bottomed out at like $66, $65, and it's now at 112. So it's basically almost doubled in like a 2-week span, which is just crazy. So as you see here, this box that I have here, Palantir sold off, like I said, on April 7th down into this demand zone and immediately bounced. So let's just take a look at some of the short-term price action, what's been going on. So what I see here on Palantir is last week, what we had happen was this $100, this $99 to $100 range we cleared. And I actually called out in one of my group messages, if Palantir gets over $100, like it's about to go crazy, which it basically did. So as we see here, we see this level here. Draw some circles for you guys. And then this high here. And then this high as well. So yeah, what I was watching this week was I wanted to clear of this level, these levels right here. So this, one second. So this like $99 level right here is what I was looking for this week. So I alerted one of my group chats. I was like, if we clear this level, as you can see here, we have this bounce right here that indicated the support. This resistance right here, we came back up to the same level and rejected down. Once I see a bounce and then a fall below and then a test up to resistance and we fall back, I'm like, that's a key level right there. And then once again right here on the, what was that, the 15th, it looked like we rejected again. But right here last week on the 23rd, we broke above and closed the day above it. So in my mind, I was like, okay, we broke above our key resistance level, we're about to run crazy. Because as you can see, there's really not much in the way back up to all-time highs, which is like $125. So yeah, we closed up above $199 to $100, and then I ain't really see much in it. So we have a little bit of resistance right here that we already broke through. I can kind of mark this level off right here too. We kind of saw some consolidation right above this 110 level. But other than that, other than maybe like some resistance right up around here, 116.5 to 118.5, Palantir don't really got much in the way back to 125. So when we broke this 99 level, I got in some June calls, some calls that expire in June. And Palantir got earnings, I think, on the 5th, so in a couple weeks. And we know when good companies like this that have a lot of growth, like we see price action run up leading up to earnings. So I'm gonna just hold these all the way running up to earnings. I'll take off a significant amount of my position right before the earnings call, just in case something goes unexpectedly negative. But yeah, Palantir going crazy. So what I'm looking for Palantir is maybe, if you're not in the position yet, we get this pullback back to this 110 area. If Palantir or if the market like sells off super hard this week for some reason and we end up seeing Palantir back at $100, that's lucky. If we get Palantir back at $100, you got lucky before earnings. And that would be like time to go up in position size and really put some money in for a bounce back off 100. But it looked like Palantir out of there, y'all. It looked like it's going to 125 or higher. It had this beautiful base that it formed right here. It formed this beautiful base here. And then broke out above 199, 110. So my next target is on Palantir, like just the psychological level of 115 is something to think about, but then above that is like 118. But really, I'm probably just like in my mind, I'm looking for Palantir to reach as a 125 before within the next week or two, if the market permits. If for some reason we get some bad news or the market sells off, Palantir will probably go with it. But if the market stays sideways or goes up, Palantir probably gonna keep running. So that's really like my favorite chart in the market right now. So Palantir, if we get a pullback to 110, I'll see what the market's kind of looking like. If it looks like the market's having more downside, then I'll just kind of hold my positions. But if it looks like the market's primed for a bounce after a small pullback too, I might add to my position. If the market does sell off, like I said, to $100, that'd be a blessing for people who aren't already in the position to kind of add. So the next stock that I really like is CrowdStrike, which is a cybersecurity company. Um, the chart actually looks very, very similar, but this double bottom is actually beautiful. So you see right here, this right here, and then this right here. It basically bounced off this level on the left here, sold up, ran back up here, sold back off basically to the same level and then bounced again. So that's a beautiful double bottom there. But kind of the level that I was watching for a breakout above was kind of this range right here. Let me show y'all something real quick. So this range right here is kind of what I was waiting for Palantir to break. So as you can see, we have all-time highs up here, sell off crazy down to this bottom and then bounce, and then we kind of enter this. We kind of enter this zone right here where Palantir wakes up and then sells back off, basically back down to this low. So this would have been a beautiful entry right here. Retest of this bottom level here. Mark that off. And then Palantir just goes crazy. And then we see this crazy daily candle. We break through this range that we had, and even like all these wicks up this level right here, this 407 level, and then this 410 level we broke through. So this April 24th candle broke above all this. Once you saw it above this level right here, once CrowdStrike broke this level right here, where this circle is, it was go time. That was last week. We saw this candle right here break above this level. It closed just above it. In my mind, it's like there's nothing really in the way. There's nothing really in the way back to all-time highs, which is sitting at 455 or so. So Palantir similar to CrowdStrike similar to Palantir. It had this level that it broke through, and now it's not really much in the way back to all-time highs. So I mean, if the market sells off and you can get like a retest of like 410, or even if it can retest the top of this zone here, I would look for an entry. But Palantir is another one that looks like it's on its way back to all-time highs, and there's not really much in the way. That's a beautiful chart right here. And we can just zone out. As you can see, there's nothing over here on this left side of this chart. That's really like, I'm gonna draw this little line here. But yes, even right here, this is resistance. We broke above that with that candle too. It don't look like there's much in the way. The only thing that's gonna stop Palantir from reaching all-time highs next week or within the next 2 weeks is the market selling off as a whole. Like I said in my last video, if the market's selling off as a whole, most stocks is going with it. Sometimes if the whole market's selling off, you might see like the energy sector green, or you might see like the healthcare or industrial sector green. But when it comes to these tech stocks, cybersecurity, AI, all these chip stocks, anything along those lines, if the market's selling off as a whole for the most part, besides like Tesla kind of just does its own thing just because the news be so sporadic, and then Elon is so like unpredictable. But like for a lot of these tech stocks, if the market's selling off, the stocks is going with it. If the market going up, the stocks is going with it. But Palantir looked beautiful to retest like 455 as like a big target for next week or the week after. So that's another one of my favorites. If we could get a pullback to $400 on Palantir, that's a good entry for calls back to ultimate the 455 target to the upside. So that's as of right now, I'm not in this stock, but for a setup, any type of pullback that I get that's significant, where it looks like the market has some support as well, where we might see a bounce. Palantir is one of the main stocks I'm looking to get into next week. Um, since I brought up Tesla, let's kind of take a look at that. A lot of people is excited about Tesla right now. So the interesting about Tesla is it had an earnings report and it was awful. Like EPS missed by like earnings per share missed by like 40%, which is terrible. Revenue was down like 20% year over year or something like that, I believe. They didn't give no guidance. So a lot of time in these earnings reports, it's like a lot of things kind of have to go right for you to see a strong move to the upside. So a lot of times you'll see like a beat on revenue and a beat on earnings or EPS, but the stock is down. A lot of people will be like, why? And it's a lot of times these stocks, these companies give guidance for the next quarter or the next year. And if you have a great quarter that you're reporting on, but you're guiding for the next quarter or the next year to be bad, your stock could suffer from that. In this situation, because Tesla been beaten down so much, so Tesla went from an all-time high of like 490, almost $500, and this was what at the beginning of the like at the end of December, so like not like 4 or 5 months ago, it was at all-time high. In like 3 months, in like 3 4 months, it went from almost $500 down to the low 200s. So Tesla been beaten down. So it had a bad earnings report. It said it missed EPS by 40%. Revenue was down. They like had a record low in delivery growth or something like that, and then they didn't give no guidance. So they listed not giving guidance because the market conditions is so unpredictable with like the tariffs and all everything that's going on. So they decided not to give guidance. But I think Elon said something like he's going to start focusing on Tesla more, and the market must have liked that because off that earnings report, the stock went up like significantly. I think it was up like 8% the next day or something. So one of the lessons in this is a lot of times when a stock is so well beaten down and it's had so much bad news going into it, when it gets more bad news and the stock goes up, that's kind of when bottoms on stocks form. So when you get bad news on stocks and it's falling, 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 and then you get some more bad news, but the stock reacts positively, it's almost like the market has become numb to all the bad news that's dropping out, and now it's kind of ignoring it, or what we call it priced in, and that's when we start seeing bottoms being formed and moves to the upside. Also, of course, it helps that Elon does say he's going to spend more time focusing on Tesla because, as a lot of us know, he's been all over the place. He bought Twitter. He's now like involved in Trump's, presidency, cabinet, or whatever you may call it. So really, I think the stock just went up because Trump said he's going to focus on Tesla more, and also it was just so beaten down. I think all the bad news was just already baked into the stock, so we got to move up. So a lot of people got really excited. I'll give y'all some reasons why. There's some good reasons to why people are excited about Tesla right now, just because it's so beaten down, but also we saw a break above this trend line here. So we're just dropping from all-time high down to the lower highs, and as you can see here, we broke above that. And we broke above with volume. So we had this break above trend line. We had a whole bunch of bad news from earnings. Elon gave us a little bit of bullishness, saying he's gonna give us more attention to Tesla. So we saw the stock go up. So we got a little bit of good news mixed with some numbing feelings in the market from bad news, mixed with this break above trend line and the increase of volume. So a lot of people was just like got into Tesla calls quick, but I'm not completely convinced yet. Because as you can see here, this blue line is a 200 EMA. On Friday, we basically hit it and basically stopped there. Like we hit it and sold off a little bit, and that's where we closed. So what I want to see is I want to see a daily close above this 200 EMA on the daily chart. Also, we see these highs here. It ain't really cleared these significant highs yet, you know? Like, I'm gonna draw this for y'all. Look right here. Oh, my bad. All right, look at this. So yeah, we broke above this trend line. That's a good sign for sure. But we ain't broke resistance yet. So what we look like we have here is we have a bottom forming right here on Tesla. It looks like we can go from here to here. It looked like it's bottoming, but it's not confirmed until we put in a higher high. We still don't have a higher high. So here's this high here, and then here's our high from last week. We need to break this level to confirm a higher high. If we get above, what is this? 290, about 290 to 292 in that range. If we get a daily close above that, I'm with you. I'm with Tesla to upside. If we get a daily close above 290, 292, 295, man, I'll get some end of the year, like January 2026 calls and just let it run up for the year. Because if we break above here and Tesla start getting some good news and Elon start putting some more attention into Tesla, we might be back close to all time high. But that's a long way away. My next level, as you can see here, what we see here, my next real key level is right here. That would be like main target number one. So above like 292, 290, 290 to 295, above that, I'm looking at like 325. And then we got this next level like up here around like 260, like 360, and then up to like 400, this psychological level 400 also with some resistance there. So yeah, a lot of people just went crazy because Tesla finally got some momentum. We got like a little bit of good news, but in the back of my mind, I'm like, things still aren't going. The company ain't really turned, like I said, 40% down EPS, 20% down revenue. Like, these are not good metrics. These are not good reports that you want from a company. But at the same time, it's been down so long, it's been beaten down so long, and we all know Tesla's a stock that trades off speculation. It's basically always been like that. We have the FSD driving coming into, fruition a little bit. We got Elon saying he's going to give us a little bit more attention. So Tesla could be primed for a bounce. I'm just not completely convinced yet. I want to see some levels cleared. Like I said, above 290, above this 200 EMA, sitting at like, what's it at? 287, it looks like. And then we got some resistance up near, 292. We cleared 292. I'll be all for it. But sometimes you gotta wait and see with these volatile stocks, y'all. Like, this shit could easily reject if the market go down. But I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna just wait and play how the charts tell me. I'm not gonna be too overzealous. The breakout above the trend line is good, but we still got a little bit of more things that we need to see happen for some confirmation. But Tesla, I like it. I'm watching it close, either for a short to the downside of this rejection, of this resistance, or a break above this 292 and a daily close is what I'm looking for. And if I get that, I'm in there. So what we got: Palantir, CrowdStrike, Tesla, also Sofi. Another thing with Palantir, like, you want to pay attention to stocks that have good news coming out. So the whole time the stock market was dropping, we was getting good news on Palantir. And that just really showed you the momentum of the stock market. Palantir dropped crazy. Not because anything was going bad in its fundamentals. I mean, the CEO did announce that he sold $1 billion of stock, which after a crazy run-up like Palantir had, that level of sell-off is kind of a indication of like big players pulling money off the board and maybe a possibility of a near-term topping of the stock price. But Palantir, the last like 2 weeks, I've seen like 7 or 8 different partnerships or different announcements of good news. So I knew once I started to see some bullishness in the market, Palantir was one of my like top watches to get calls on and play to the upside. And I say that to say, going into SoFi just has some big news too. So when you see stocks that have good news in down markets, you want to be prepared for when the market turns around to invest in these companies. So SoFi been on like a cool little run too the last week. It gapped up here between the 22nd and 23rd. It gapped up pretty significantly and then kept going the next 2 days. So I actually love SoFi right now. I'm in shares and I also have calls, but it's at a very, very, very key level right now, and I want to show you guys. Honestly, if the market sells off, and SoFi been volatile, so when the market been dropping, SoFi sells off hard. When the market been bouncing, SoFi been running significantly. But if the market goes down, I like SoFi to the upside. Like I'm bullish on it for sure in the long term. And then if it breaks these, if the market keep going up, I'm bullish on it for sure as one of the leaders to the in the short term. But if for some reason we see the market go down, I think SoFi gonna sell off. Let me show you why. And I'll just say this: for the week coming up, I'm leaning. For the week coming up, I'm bullish on the week coming up. I think we go higher, but I'm gonna see what Monday looking like. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself. You don't want to have a too established bias going into a week, especially in the situations in the situations that we in the market. You don't want to get too ahead of yourself. But yeah, I think so far. If the market sell off, I'm looking to short SoFi. If the market go up, I want it to break this trend line. It still ain't broke. So take a look here. All-time high trend line. SoFi just hit that. Also this. Take a look at this. That's not all. This low here. So if you see right here, that's this key support level that we still ain't broken above. So yeah, for SoFi, I like it if we can clear this trend line. And then we got some other stuff up here too. So yeah, SoFi at a clear at a pretty important level. This like $13 level. We have this downward trend line right here that is basically just approaching, and then we got some other support here that we formed. Oh, I'm sorry, some resistance here that we formed back in what's that, November 2024, and then we see it react at that level here as well. We kind of get a bounce here, and then we end up falling below it. So yeah, I want to see SoFi clear this like $13 level, and then above 13. Yeah, above $13, SoFi good for like 13.75, and then above that, then we really about it there. But SoFi got some work to do too. They had a crazy bounce from like 8.50 all the way back to what, $13 basically. So I want to see SoFi clear this downward trend line and also this resistance level that we got formed from this like price action that we have. And then after that, it's go time. I'm in January 2020. I'm actually in June 2026 calls. I'm trying to run it up on SoFi. I'm so bullish on SoFi long term, and I think if the market continues to turn around, I think SoFi gonna be one of the leaders. It's had a lot of growth. The sentiment change in the stock has changed. I remember back a year or two ago, maybe like 2 years ago, we have all this good news and all this like good earnings reports, and SoFi just wouldn't go anywhere. It would sell off of like great earnings reports and great news, and it just left like people like, what is going on with SoFi? And then finally, like we kind of got past that and it started going crazy. And now I think like it's attracting a lot more institutional investors. The price action has been a lot better, but yeah, SoFi it's a volatile stock. If the market sells off, it hasn't broke this resistance level and it hasn't broke this trend line. So if the market's looking bearish tomorrow before open, I'll kind of look at SoFi to short. But also above this $13 level is one of my favorite ones to the upside too. So SoFi another one I'm looking for. And then what we got? So Palantir, SoFi, CrowdStrike. Oh, sleeper. Maybe it's not some of you, but this is a sleeper. RocketLabs. Crazy. This is a beautiful chart. Absolutely beautiful chart. This might be. I said Palantir my favorite chart. You know, CrowdStrike look it's a little bit better than Palantir. It's very similar, but CrowdStrike got that beautiful double bottom, like almost to the penny at the second bounce off the bottom. But this base that RocketLabs is forming, this is what you look for in the market. Look at this. It's like a beautiful ass base. Look at this. Hold on, let me draw that better. Let me draw that a little better. Look at this. You can't really argue with that. And then let me show you something real quick. Let me show you something. Hold up. I want to make this base real clear. Look at this. That's nice. And then look at this. It's a clear level of resistance. Ain't no denying this level right here. A clear level of resistance. All of this right here. Look at all of these bounces off. Look at all these bounces to the upside or rejections off at this level. There. Like 2 or 3 times here. Once here. And then watch a recent one right here. So what you want to look for in like breakouts is like where are the resistance levels, breakouts or breakdowns, where are the resistance and support levels that break down. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 touches of this line. Either we're hitting it and rejecting down or hitting it and running back up. And we just saw a break of it on Friday. Another thing I kind of want to discuss is like the importance of closes, price action, where price action closes on different time frames. So like a 15-minute candle close isn't going to be as strong as like a daily candle close. So like when a daily candle closes above a level, there's stronger conviction there that that level has been broken above or broken below, and it'll probably continue in that direction. So we saw on Friday, we saw a break above this level on Friday, but it also closed the week there. So we had a daily candle break this resistance level and also a weekly candle. Not saying it can't fall back lower, but trading is a game of probabilities, you know? Like it's a high probability since we broke this level on the daily and weekly chart that we could see some continued upside. So this high right here on April 15th was what, $22.10, and on Friday we closed at $22.38. So we broke that level, and then we have that base form. So we have this beautiful base form. We have this key resistance level broken, and then basically we see here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 red candles in a row, which tells us that like last time when we were at this level, we approached it on 6 red days dropping. So what that tells me is we ran through a lot of liquidity right there in those 5-6 days of trading. So what I'm thinking in my mind is back to the upside, we can see the same thing. Again, the stock market movement as a whole, we want this to permit this move. So we want the stock market to continue to move up as a whole too. If the stock market sells off, this play may not carry out the way we want to. But the probability wise and how this chart looks, it's looking like we're going to see a nice move back to the upside. And for those of you who don't know, RocketLabs has been a very hot stock in the defense and space, in the space sector. Now look at this chart. It was down here around like $5 just what, a year or two ago. And now look what we had. We had this crazy run up to all-time highs around like $33, and then a deep sell-off back down to like $15. And then now look at this. We're forming this base, this beautiful base, this break above this key resistance level on the daily and weekly chart. And now we're looking for a push back to the upside. We got a little resistance here. It's looking like around 23.70. I might trim a little bit there, but really it's looking our upside target. We want it back to all-time highs at $33. But we can see here, this is a key level here. right here. So that really like my main first level probably is right here around $28. From 22 to $28. That's like a 30. What is that? That's a significant move. That's a big move. So I'm gonna trim on the way up, but it looked like we got some. It looks like Rocket Labs has potential for some good upside. So we're gonna keep an eye on that. So we had Palantir, CrowdStrike, um, Rocket Labs, Palantir, CrowdStrike, Rocket Labs, Sofi, Tesla. Those are gonna be my top 5 things that I'm watching for the week. And Monday we just gonna see how price action is looking in the pre-market, and we want to get a sense of whether we think Monday we're gonna have a green day or a red day. A few of these stocks like Tesla and SoFi, they're right on resistances, so they haven't broken above resistances. Palantir, CrowdStrike, and Rocket Lab have broken resistances, and it's looking like they got room to run to the outside. So when it comes to if the market looking bullish, I really like Rocket Lab because it just broke resistance. I also like CrowdStrike and Palantir because it's been broken resistance and it's looking like it's going back to all-time highs with not much in the way. Tesla got some work to do. Got to work through that 200 EMA and that resistance level, and then SoFi got that downward trend line and that other resistance level from price action as well too. If I see a break above those, it's money time. But to the down, if we see like the market is looking bearish in the pre-market, I like Tesla and SoFi to the downside. If it's looking like if we're looking like we bullish on the day, I want to see a bullish daily close on SoFi and Tesla. So if Tesla looking super strong with a lot of volume tomorrow, I might play calls, but I want to see a really strong daily close. So I want the day to close on those. Rocket Labs, I'm in right now, but I'll add to a position tomorrow if it's looking like the market bullish. So you had Palantir, Rocket Labs, Tesla, SoFi, CrowdStrike. Top 5 watches for the week coming up, y'all. All right, cool. So yeah, let's stay disciplined. Don't be too quick to pull the trigger on any trades. Stick to your systems, and let's get this money. There's a lot of good charts in the market. These are just my top 5 that I noticed. Just doing a quick little hour or two browsing in the market, and yeah, we'll see what pre-market action looks like tomorrow. We'll go from there, and let's get this money. Thank y'all.